At Sunday dinner, over pot roast and accusations, my sister lifted her glass and announced, "I'm moving into your guest room next week." She had a timeline, a dog, and a boyfriend I'd met twice. What she didn't have was a lease, a key, or a clue that the house in question wasn't mine anymore. I didn't argue at the table. I let the county recorder, the closing statement, and a new set of owners do the talking. I'm Paige Kim, 30, operations analyst for the Denver Parks Department. I'm the one who color codes calendars and knows which trail trash cans get emptied on Wednesdays. I also used to be the sibling who said yes because it kept the peace. 2 years ago, I bought my little green bungalow in the Barkley neighborhood. 2 bedrooms, a creaky porch swing, and a yard that thinks dandelions are flowers. It was the first home that felt like a promise I'd made to myself and kept. My younger sister, Bree, 26, has a gift for beginnings and a blind spot for middles. She has had 3 almost degrees, 4 apartments, 1 van she lived in for a romantic week, and a resume that reads like a song with too many choruses. When she lost her most recent lease because the landlord wanted to gut the place, she stayed with me for a weekend. She stayed 3 months in those 3 months. My couch developed an imprint shaped like a 26-year-old woman who snores. My pantry developed a hollow where the cereal used to be. My patience developed a tear I kept sewing up with sticky notes that said things like, "Please rinse dishes and stop leaving candles under my creme." When she left a box of shoes, a chipped mug, and a hole in my boundary where no should go. After she left, I did adult things. I went to therapy, the good boring kind where your therapist says, "What would saying no look like?" and doesn't hand you a script. I made a list titled "What I'm Responsible For" and taped it inside a cabinet. It contained exactly 3 things: my home, my health, my work. I promised myself I wouldn't turn my house into an emergency shelter just because family policy says Paige handles it. Then the housing market called with a number I hadn't imagined. My mortgage was 3.1%. My Zillow estimate laughed at me and kept going up. My job went hybrid and my commute evaporated. A nonprofit I volunteer with Mile High Homes, a community land trust, was trying to buy houses to keep them permanently affordable for teachers and firefighters. They were getting outbid by cash buyers who would turn cute bungalows into vacation rentals with hot tubs and a quirky listing description. One night, over a container of grocery store sushi and guilt, I clicked "Contact us on the Land Trust website." "I'm thinking of selling," I wrote. Could I sell to you on purpose? They could. They did. We drew up a fair market purchase price minus a small discount for the deed restriction that would keep the house affordable forever. That discount still left me enough to pay off my student loans and stash a decent emergency fund. I cried in the title office because closing statements are poetry for a certain kind of nerd. I didn't announce the sale to my family because I wanted the paperwork to be a shield and not a dare. The sale closed on a Friday. The deed recorded Monday morning. By Sunday dinner, the house was not mine, legally or ethically. I had a month-to-month place lined up over a bakery in Sloan's, lake that smelled like cinnamon at 5 a.m. and made me wake up happy. And that's when my sister stood up with her glass. Sunday dinner is my mother's constitutional. She sets the table like Instagram is watching, and she narrates the menu like an awards show presenter. My father performs the role of calm forklifter. There's a script we all know. Compliments. Small talk, and then sometime between entrees and dessert, a small grenade disguised as an announcement. This week's grenade was Bree. She cleared her throat. "So I'm moving in with Paige next week," she said brightly. "Just for a few months while I figure things out." My mother beamed like the mother of a bride. Isn't that wonderful? Sisters supporting sisters. I put my fork down. That's not happening, I said. Dad. My father looked at his roll like he was considering the carbohydrate content of conflict. Let's discuss, he said. There's nothing to discuss, I said. Bree, you didn't ask? I knew you'd say no if I asked, she said. But family doesn't say no. Family can, I said. Family shouldn't assume. Bree rolled her eyes. It's not like you don't have space. The guest room is literally a room that's unused. It's wasteful and we're in a housing crisis. You're in a crisis, I said. My house is not your emergency plan. Mom jumped in with her cheerful bulldozer voice. Sweetie, you've always been the responsible one. It makes sense for your home to be the hub. We raised you girls to share. You also raised us to clean up after ourselves, I said. One of us didn't learn. Dad held up his hands. 2 months, he said, as if he were Solomoning the baby. It's not negotiable, I said. I don't know house anymore. They blinked. Bree's face did a loading circle. What? I sold it, I said. Closed on Friday. It's not mine. He's transferred to the new owners tomorrow. They're a teacher and a paramedic with a toddler. They move in next week. Mom made a noise that belonged to a different dinner. You what? I sold the house to a community land trust, I said. It'll stay affordable forever. I moved into a place over on Stewart Street. It's 1 bedroom. No guest room, no spare couch. You didn't ask us, Mom said, and there it was, the offense. It wasn't your decision, I said calmly. It was mine. Bree laughed, short and mean. You did this to avoid helping me? I did this because I wanted to, I said. A timing happens to protect my boundary. You're unbelievable, she said. We were going to move in next Sunday. I already told Jax. I told our landlords we'll be out. Tell them you need to retract the notice, I said. They'll keep our deposit, she said. That's a consequence of your choice, I said. Not mine. Mom leaned forward, soft voice that once convinced me to keep piano lessons. Paige, be reasonable. Rent is outrageous. You're in a tiny place by choice. You don't have to be difficult. Let Bree stay until she finds something. I can't, I said. I don't own the place you want me to offer. Even if I did, I wouldn't. Bree stood, chair scraping. So you're choosing strangers over your own sister? I'm choosing my peace, I said. And also, those strangers are a kindergarten teacher and a paramedic who have been outbid 5 times this year. I'm choosing them on purpose. She threw her napkin, missed the plate, and stormed out. Mom followed. Dad looked at me with the tired kindness of someone who tried and failed to referee a sport he never signed up to play. This will be a thing, he said. I know, I said. I didn't sleep well that night. Guilt dresses up as practicality in my brain and whispers logistics. What if they show up anyway? What if they try to move boxes in? What if they try to argue with the new owners? My therapist's question floated back. What does support look like right now? Answer, write it down. I made a memo to myself. Closing recorded Monday 10:08 Screenshot from county recorder site. New owners. The Vasquez family. Buyers via Mile High Homes. Keys Tuesday 9 my lease. 1BR on Stewart Street. Signed, deposit paid, move-in completed communication to family. Written, not verbal. Boundary. Queer, not cruel safety. Change address everywhere. Ask the land trust to introduce me to the Vasquezes in a way that gives them permission to call me if anything weird happens with my family legal. If Bree or anyone shows up and refuses to leave. The owners can call Denver police for trespass. I will not intervene in person, I texted the land trust coordinator, Sonia. FYI, my sister may try to show up this week. She believes she's moving into the guest room. I've told her I don't own the house. Can you please brief the Vasquezes and give them my number and the police non-emergency line? Sonia replied in the voice of a woman who has done this before. Got it. We'll give them a printed welcome plus what to do with sheet. My last step was an email to my family titled House. Emails, like closing statements, are magic in rooms where people want the story to change. I wrote, by following up in writing. I sold my house on Friday to Mile High Homes Community Land Trust. The deed recorded today. I now live at address. There is no guest room. Please do not go to the old house. New owners move in next week. If you need help finding resources, here are links to 2 housing groups that help with deposits, short-term stays. Links. Love. Pi. I attached a screenshot of the county record. I attached a photo of my new apartment's tiny kitchen with sunlight making the tile look like an apology dot an hour later. Bree replied, "You're unbelievable. We're going to the house Sunday with a truck. They'll have to let us in. We're family." I texted Sonia, "Sunday alert. Sunday, I made myself very busy not being near the old house. I went to the farmer's market and pretended to be someone who debates between peaches and nectarines because her life is that simple." At 10 a.m., my phone rang. Unknown number. I answered. "Hi, Paige. This is Ana Vasquez," a warm voice said. "We just pulled up to the house to paint the nursery. There's a U-Haul and a woman pounding on the door saying she's your sister and she lives here." We're confused. My stomach dropped and then settled into a place that felt like relief because at least it was happening in the daylight with witnesses and a phone. "I am so sorry," I said. "You don't have to let anyone in. I don't own the house." "You do. I can be there in 20 minutes if you want me to, but you shouldn't have to handle my family. If you feel unsafe, call the police non-emergency line. You can put me on speaker if that helps." We called Sonia, she said. "She's sending someone. The woman says we're stealing her home." "You're not," I said. "She was never on the deed or a lease." There was a muffled exchange. A man's voice, Ana's husband, Luis, came on. "Is it okay if we hand the phone to the officer?" He asked. "Absolutely," I said, slightly giddy with gratitude. Calm voice came on. "Ma'am, Officer Neal, we have a civil misunderstanding. The woman is stating she has a right to enter. The Vasquezes have keys and a deed. Can you verify that you sold the property and that this person is not authorized?" "Yes," I said. "I'm the previous owner. I sold to Mile High Homes on date. Deed recorded, date time. I can email the settlement statement and the recorded deed PDF right now." "That would be helpful," he said, and gave me a city. Email address that probably exists for exactly this. I stepped to the side of a stall, selling honey, and sent the email with trembling fingers. I attached 3 things: the recorded deed, the settlement statement, and a photo of me with Ana and Luis from the day we signed papers together, and I handed them the porch swing cushions while everyone cried at inappropriate levels about fabric. Minutes later, Officer Neal said, "Received. Thank you. We'll inform your sister she needs to leave." In the background, I heard Bree's voice, shrill on a frequency that makes glass consider shattering. "She's lying. She did this too. Punish me. We're family." The officer spoke in the even tone that makes people either calm down or realize they've lost. "The current owners have asked you to leave. You are trespassing. If you return, you may be cited. Please go." "That's my house," she said, softer now. "It's not," he said, not silence. Then footsteps, then a deep exhale. Ana came back. "On. She's gone," she said shakily. "I'm so sorry you dealt with that," I said. "Thank you for calling. Are you okay?" "We are," she said. "Lisa's making coffee like it's a spell. And hey, we love the porch." "Take good care of it," I said. And then I cried into a bunch of kale. My phone lit up like a pinball machine. Text from Mom, "You humiliated your sister." From Dad, "Let's talk this through." From Bree, "I hope you enjoy your bakery." I didn't reply that day. I sat on the floor of my little apartment and watched light move across the wall and thought about how boundaries aren't aggressive. They're quiet. The next morning, I emailed my parents. I won't discuss yesterday. Showing up at a house you don't own is trespassing. My boundary is simple. I'm not a housing solution. Please stop asking me to be one. I love you. Dad called that evening, voice calm. You're right, he said. We got swept up in panic. Bree is upset. She calmed down. I hope she finds a place, I said. I sent resources. He hesitated. Your mother can be traditional about family roles. I know, I said. I'm writing new ones. He surprised me then, telling a story I hadn't heard. When he and Mom were newly married, they lived in a studio over a laundromat in Aurora. His brother asked to move in for a week. He stayed 6 months. We ate cereal with water some nights, Dad said. I thought that was what family meant. Your mother never forgot that apartment. When does she forget that it was her idea? I asked, and he laughed, even though we both knew it wasn't entirely a joke. He didn't answer. He said, I'm proud of you. And I cried at my kitchen sink into the towel that says breathe in block letters. 2 weeks later, Sonia from the Land Trust emailed. Want to come by Saturday? The Vesquizes want to show you the nursery. I brought houseplants and left with a sense that some choices are spines. Straightening.Bree eventually found a room in a house with 3 women and 2 cats. She texted, I'm fine, which is how sisters say, I won't forgive you out loud yet, but I'm not going to ruin the holidays. I sent her a Venmo for $100 with a note for curtains because I am generous to a fault and because I like windows that don't show the world everything. Mom didn't bring it up again. She did, however, bring a pie to my apartment and say, it's small. And I said, yes. And we ate pie over paper towels because I hadn't bought real napkins yet. The lesson took. When Thanksgiving rolled around, Bree asked in the family group chat if her friend could join. Mom typed family only, then backspaced and wrote, yes. And I saw the backspace lines in my head like a small miracle. Here's what. I learned selling a house I loved in a city that makes it hard to keep them. Your peace can coexist. With a good deed, I paid off my loans. I built a savings cushion. A teacher and a paramedic live in a house that will be affordable forever because the land trust stores equity in a jar with a label that says not for flippers. I still walk past. The old place sometimes. The porch swing is there. There are chalk drawings on the driveway that look like a child with a sense of geometry lives there. The dandelions are under control in a way I never managed. I feel a pinch in my chest and then a lift. The house is okay. So am I Dot, and when my sister texts from time to time photos of a cat on a windowsill, a new haircut, a job application screenshot, I send back hearts. I don't send Lisa's. That's the difference. If you ever find yourself at a dinner where someone announces a plan for your life like a toast, remember, you don't owe anyone a couch, a key, or a version of yourself that bends until it breaks. You owe yourself a boundary. If you can back that boundary with paperwork, even better. There's a grace in being able to say, I can't, and also, I don't. When someone plans your space like it's theirs, you don't have to debate. You can decide. Boundaries can be a deed, a lease, a move, or a sentence. The most satisfying endings aren't dramatic, they're documented.